Hello and welcome to the Brightside Live. My name is Michele Katz. I'm the founder of the Plus One Adoption Foundation. We put on these monthly interviews called the Brightside Live, a series we've been doing already now for about 4 years. I have a wonderful human being here today, Jennifer Morovic. She's going to tell us about what she does. But in short, I know that she is the creative director of Our Chosen Child. Just wanted to make sure I got that right. I know we throw around acronyms a lot, so we'll be saying, OCC probably a lot
Yeah.
moving forward. But occasionally, in case viewers join later on, it's Our Chosen Child. And she has spent, gosh, years, can I say? 15 years. Hard to believe,
Yeah.
I'm sure. Helping thousands of families create adoption profiles that reflect their unique stories. So, starting as a graphic designer, we'll hear more from Jennifer directly, but she now leads the OCC's creative team, their vision through evolving worlds of adoption because it is not the same as it was probably 15 years ago. And I'm very curious to hear what it was like then and how it's kind of evolved, especially with technology, since we have to evolve with the changes in marketing strategies, digital storytelling, and such. And the favorite part of the process for Jennifer is seeing glimpses of family life through photos and stories, which is very, very, very beautiful. And then translating them, of course, into authentic, beautifully designed profiles that connect with birth parents. So let's get started. Jennifer, hello. Thank you for joining us today.
For having me.
Oh, well, it's really our pleasure. So, as part of the Plus One Adoption Foundation's mission, and I'm an adoptive mom, an adoption advocate, our foundation is dedicated to providing assistance with free resources for adoption and post placement. So, where you fit into this piece is the journey to adoption. And of course, you may have repeat. I don't know how it works. I'm very curious about that too. If you have repeat customers that then come back to you because they want to adopt again, which is the situation in our family as we have two adopted children. So, welcome everyone to the Bright Side Live. Welcome, Jennifer. Can you share a little bit about your journey? How did you get started at OCC, Our Chosen Child? And what drew you to adoption storytelling? Because if I recall correctly, you do not have adopted kids.
I do not. I have
Yes,
two
I remember.
biological kids. Um, yes. So it's kind of a funny story, but I was graduating in my final semester in school, and I got a phone call. I was sitting in a parking lot and I got a phone call, and I picked it up, and it was Joanna Ivy, who's the founder of Our Chosen Child. And she was like, "This is going to sound crazy, but I saw your portfolio online. I liked your work. I liked that you had some writing background. I was a receptionist." And she was like, "This is going to sound kind of crazy. This is a really niche um, design job, but would you be interested?" And it just like opened up my whole world. And I've been doing it for 15 years now.
How did she
Um,
describe it? How did she describe like the job description?
she kept saying this is a very niche job. And it totally is. Like when I tell people what I do, I have like an elevator pitch of, like if if my husband and I were to adopt, we would make this booklet that we would present to expectant parents. And, you know, it's almost difficult to even explain it quickly to people what I do. But most people are just so in awe of what? That's a job? That's an actual thing that people need? Like, who knew?
Yeah.
But here I am. And then it was like, I'm curious by nature, and I took it and I just dove headfirst into it. And I've been learning about adoption for 15 years now. I kind of have this unique perspective of being on the journey, like you said, the front end of the journey. And I haven't adopted myself, so I really leave it up to the professionals to really wade through the details. Um,
Well, certainly you
and
don't get involved in like the process itself. You're
right.
capturing the family and how they are portraying themselves through this digital format. And then tell us like
Yes.
why do clients come to to the company? Like what are they seeking? Probably maybe we need to get a little bit like zoom out a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, because we're so engrossed in it, so we know what it is. Let's zoom out. Why do people come to you?
Yeah. So people come to Our Chosen Child, we call it affectionately OCC, um, because I mean for a quite a few reasons, but what we hear is people want to put their best foot forward. They want to present in a way that feels authentic to themselves. And also, the profile book is like, I always say people have gone through so much, and then you get to this point where this is the last step, and it's like the most one of the most intense steps. And we help people. We have processes. We have um, checklists. We kind of hold your hand through that process so it's not quite so overwhelming because a lot of people just get really overwhelmed with this big piece before, they present.
And so people come to you because they want to put a book together that they give to a birth mom and or dad who is interested in placing their child for adoption. I mean,
Correct.
that's what's happening here. So when they come to you, do they usually have pictures or ideas already in mind? Do you take any of the photos? How does it work when someone comes to you? Or all of the
So
above,
we don't
maybe. I don't know.
we don't take any of the photos.
Okay.
We have lots of tips, tools, guidelines.
And that's where the
We
checklist comes in, right? So you
exactly.
present the checklist. Okay, so the families know like what are some examples of items on the checklist?
For photos, we have buckets, folders where, it's your cover photo. We like to say you need three key images, which are your cover photo, the introduction photo, the back cover photo. Those need to be very clear, waist, shoulder up of your face, smiling, not a distracting background because those are the like initial first impressions. And then we have, candid folders, hobbies, candid and hobbies. And then we have travel and events. And those are really what we call your supporting images. So those are the ones that we use together with the key cover photos to really tell your story because we at Our Chosen Child really feel like it's a nice balance of both. We don't want to just have photo shoot images and we don't want to just have kind of your candid everyday photos.
So for those people who
Um,
put montages together and know how difficult it is to narrow down you might start with like thousands of photos. How many in the end are included in the final
um,
product?
Usually like 20 to 30, maybe 40 images.
Okay, so
And
40 max. Some maybe
yes,
get away with 25 or so, right? Or most people are probably somewhere in between. And
yes,
think of how many videos and photos you have on your phone, right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
how and so the checklist, okay, so the checklist helps vet through. Do people include members of their family outside of the like who is adopting? Maybe
yes,
grandparent, like prospective the
totally.
grandparents. Are
Yeah,
those
we have usually we have devoted family sections or a family page. Um and we like to do that. It shows, the support system that would be, included in the child's life. Um But we always say that, I think that that's where a lot of us have a lot of our photos is our family pictures. And we always, a lot of our families want to go into like great detail about you know, my niece, Charlotte, or, and it's like, I think it's more important to show the overall picture. And so we like to keep family pages to 1 to 2 pages in your profile book.
Of people
But
outside of your like nucleus, right?
correct.
Okay.
Absolutely.
To show
Yes.
that you have that it's good to know, right? That probably for a birth parent that, whether or not there is other family, are there grandparents? Are there, right? That
A
is there
lot of
love
family
coming from
traditions.
other, yeah, we assume that there is love coming from outside your respective home. So right. And so to show that through the
Yes.
pages.
And that's a great place to put if you have any connection to adoption within your family. That's usually where we like to highlight that
Hmm.
is on the family page. So that's also a really great place to do that. And if you have, a lot of people like to have quotes from their family members. We like to include portraits because I think it makes a much bigger impact to see who's actually saying the really great things about you. Um, so yeah, we have
Hmm.
lots of family
That's
images.
interesting. So including text in the album, not just who's
Yes.
who, but like almost like testimonial light, Like it's like they're kind of
Yeah.
like testimonials from family or yourselves, right? So
I
that's
don't, I
very
honestly think the who's who gets a little lost. And I think it's more so about your family traditions.
hmm
Um, it could be a testimonial about connections to adoptions. Is your family close or do they live far away? How do you stay in touch with them? Do you do visits? Fun family traditions, like I've said. We like to highlight those things instead of this is Uncle Bob. You know?
right, right. Because the name is not as relevant as I mean, who they happen to be. It's more about that feeling that's I don't that's like conveyed through the images. You get the sense that there's love there, that the child will be raised with like a network of family.
Yeah, and you have to think about it too. I mean, this expectant parent could have 20 profiles in front of them
Right.
or even 10.
Well, let's talk
And
about that. Isn't that usually the case? I mean, and would you know, like, do you know, like, I mean, just from your work experience, is there a lot of, I guess, like competition?
from my work experience, there is a lot of competition, but it really depends on the agency and professional.
Yeah.
Um, but yes, overall, there's a lot of competition. And then you add, waiting family pages where there's pages of families to look at,
hmm
which is why a lot of people decide to come to OCC is because they want, to make sure that they stand out among all that, all the pages of families and people.
Right, because it starts might be looking all kind of the same, right?
Exactly.
So,
And
yeah.
it depends too, if you do it on your own, a lot of people do templates on their own or they hire somebody else. And knowing that if they do have a stack of 20 profiles in front of them, knowing how much text to have, things that break it up, fun fact lists and whatnot, so that it's skimmable, but also it has the good stuff when somebody wants to actually get to know them and read the details.
Okay. Any other tips you think that would be really helpful for families when they're thinking about what to submit to you to put it together? Like, do you ever have to, I'm sure, like kind of go back, and be like, oh, well, we need more of this.
Yes. So we do folder reviews, which is basically us going through all that fun content. And we make suggestions based on do you have enough photos in this section? Do you have enough photos in this section? How is your text? Is it reading well? Is it, do you have enough detail? Um, so my suggestion is, and a lot of people don't like it, some people absolutely love it, is to take a dedicated photo shoot for
Okay.
your adoption profile book.
So don't just go into your camera roll, okay? Like take the
Yes,
checklist with a photographer and go through the list, right? I mean, is that
absolutely.
what you're saying? That would be your recommendation.
Yes. And especially, like I said, we like to have a balance of the cover photo, key photos with those supporting phone photos. And
Mhm.
things have gotten so much better. I mean, we can even suggest that you go and take photos with your phone if you know pop it on portrait mode and you know how to find the right, you know, kind of background that's not too distracting, or if it's something that's like really deeply personal to you, um, go for it. We always we like people that want to show their authentic selves to actually show that. But really getting a key set of images with strong professional photos along with those supporting phone photos are the absolute best case scenario.
Yeah, I can totally imagine it differently now.
Yeah,
Crisp, like really sharp, right? And really standing out among the others. I can imagine, especially with the added text. So it's a really
absolutely.
professional product in the end. So
And it
that,
shows that it shows
oh,
that
go
you
ahead.
care to expectant parents. I was
Hmm.
at a conference recently and somebody came over that was not even in, she didn't work with expectant parents and she was like, this just shows that you really care, that you want to put the heart and the time into this.
Hmm. Well,
Um,
and there's a
when,
financial aspect to it too.
yeah,
I think
exactly.
I mean, we may not want to admit it, but we must, that
Yes.
likely an expectant mother, for example, is going to want to make sure that her child is placed in a family that can provide, right?
Yeah. However, I think ironically people focus on that, but I would say that most people that are adopting can provide.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And
I,
actually, it's kind of like the detail, like the unique details about you. Like I've heard the craziest things of why a family chose, um, a certain adoptive family down to they had gray hair since they were 16 and it reminded me of Steve Martin and our family's favorite comedian is Steve Martin. I mean, just like the funniest things that are not about money at all.
right. Well, but it is, having children via adoption, there is an added expense,
Yep.
um, right? With very important details like home study, this
Yep.
book, like various, agency fees, like it is real. I mean, there are grant programs. We've interviewed, you know, people who run opportunities for that, but there are expenses that are real. So
Hmm.
this would be one that can make the difference where you don't want to necessarily cut. Can you give, our audience an idea of the range of what a book costs?
Sure. Yeah. So our profile books, and depending on who you work with and who your agency and attorney is, but our profile books range between 800 and $1,000.
Okay, so I mean, in relatively speaking, that's not necessarily breaking the bank. I say that kind of like this because everyone's got their own financial situation, but keeping in mind that I was expecting you to say something much bigger based on all the work
Yeah.
that's going in on it. I really was.
Yeah. And I mean, really, we have this down. We have checklists. We hold your hand. We do content review. It's more than just a design book, in my opinion. It really helps you approach it with confidence and feeling like like I said, like you're putting your best foot forward, um, and connecting with the right expectant parent.
And so let's go back in time. 15 years ago. Tell us through the, tell us about the evolution. Like, what was it like when you first started versus now?
We,
I mean, were you taking like, glue, glue sticks,
well,
like in school, and pasting them on?
thankfully, I joined after that. But our profile book design was really, um, it was modeled on scrapbooks because that's really
Yes,
where
that's what I
where
was
things
thinking.
were. That's
Hmm.
what people were doing is they were building scrapbooks. So the first few years of this job was absolutely um making my profile books kind of look like a glorified scrapbook.
Okay.
I mean, obviously more professionally printed.
Hmm.
Um, but a lot of color and layers and gosh, I remember we had all kinds of little graphic elements, little floral pieces that looked like cutouts and um but a huge thing has been I remember when I first started, people would mail us their photos on hard drives and like little, on
On the
thumb drives.
on the thumb drives. Okay, got it.
So we would get their photos via like snail mail on
Hmm.
a thumb drive. And things have changed so much. We would rent cameras, point and shoot cameras out to people because
To do their photo
people,
shoots?
yeah, and to like take
Wow.
the supporting images because people weren't taking, selfies. They weren't taking photos with their phones like they are now. Um, things have really changed, and adoption language has changed. When I first started, I don't think anyone talked about openness in an
Mm.
adoption profile. And I mean, maybe a handful did, but certainly not at the level. I would say 99.9% of my profiles now talk about openness and a desire for it and being respectful of what an expectant parent decides,
Hmm.
but saying that if that's something that you choose, we welcome it.
Mm. And that's a good way to phrase it. So there's no pressure. And that can always
Yes.
change over time too. Open, and we talk about that in our Brightside lives with different guests about how it's really a continuum. So that's a very interesting uh, aspect to incorporate into the book. So if you were to basically, have just kind of the the top bit of advice for people coming to you, what as far as making this perfect, amazingly unique book that you'll get chosen, what might that look like? What might that be?
I want people to know that being your authentic self is more important than looking perfect. Um, we kind of have the mindset that practically perfect is can backfire. You can seem so far away from what an expectant parent, the situation they're in, that it can almost be overwhelming. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a connection for every person. So certainly if live a certain lifestyle and you want to portray that, if that's you, that's you. But I think that people approach it in a way that they want to look. I think like for instance, you're focusing a lot on like the perfect profile book, and I think the perfect profile book is one that feels like you and
Hmm.
isn't trying to say that you are a perfect person or a
Right.
perfect family.
Hmm.
Which is where kind of like what we try to do is marry, those really beautiful, perfect photos, those photo shoot images with the real life. And my favorite profile books are ones where people go into their book or go into a photo shoot and they take pictures of them baking in their kitchen or reading to their kids in the living room on the floor. You know, I I try to put myself in the position of an expectant parent when I'm designing as much as I can. And what I would want to see is I would want to have a visual picture of what the life would look like for my child.
Like day to
And
day, a date like a day to
exactly.
day. Yeah.
Exactly.
Hmm.
And I know people, you're like, oh, I want my house to look perfect. But the reality is that I think birth parents just want to visualize what their child's life is going to look like. And I think that that is mostly in the walls of your home, in your backyard, in your
Hmm.
neighborhood. So I love, 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 love when I get to see that. And it also gives me a picture, from the graphic design standpoint, it gives me a picture of who you are. I can sometimes use the style of your decor as a starting point for how I'm going to design your profile book. I mean, certainly we have style boards and color preference selections for people. I of course go off of that, but sometimes there's a pattern in your home or in your clothing that I'm like, hey, I'm going to use that style, and reflect that in your profile book.
Well, well said. And really, I hope people take that to heart. It's not about perfection. It's your version of perfection, right? It's like that, right?
Exactly.
It's your version. And I totally understand that. And I think that that makes a lot of sense. And that will likely come through, right?
Absolutely.
Especially having professionals that do what you do.
Yeah, and that's really what we try to do is just make a profile that feels, like you said, like the perfect version of you, but it's not the perfect version. It's just the honest
The
version
honesty. Yes.
in in
We
the
should probably
best
take the
way.
word perfect out of it totally, but it's just like the best representation of you and your family, and that if it connects with that expectant parent, then it's probably the right match, right?
Exactly.
Potentially, and you want to give yourself the best
Even the
chance.
little things, like,
Mhm.
oh, I grew up with labs and you have two labs in your home and I'm just, so it's like oftentimes it's just the little like unique parts of your families.
Can you believe it's already time? Like we've already been talking
Oh.
for a half hour. Can you like what is there anything that we haven't discussed that you want to add here as we conclude?
The evolution of adoption profile books has definitely moved into a digital space as well. I talked about waiting family pages, online profiles, one page listings are really, a lot of people are doing those. And adoption videos is really where,
Hmm.
that's almost a whole nother discussion, but we're offering adoption videos now. And I think that's where things are going. Um, because birth parents are on their phones. And yeah.
Really good content. Let's put a pin in that, and I'd love to have you back
Yes.
on. I'd love to, yes, because I do think that where, things were very scrapbooky, and that was the time back in the beginning of your career in this field,
Yep.
that soon maybe these albums will completely transform and no longer be albums. Instead, they'll be videos. So, yes, let's definitely talk about that. I would not be
Yeah.
surprised at all. Well, Jennifer, thank you so much. We're so grateful for one, what you do and how you help the adoption community, but also for coming on the show today and letting people know. Plus One Adoption is all about adoption awareness, right? And part of the awareness is knowing and understanding the various pieces that get you to your ultimate goal, that child, right? And of course, that the journey doesn't end there. It continues
Right.
on. And my guess is people have to redo the book or video, whatever it might be, as
Yep.
they add children, because of course that initial child is not in the original work, right? And so
Yeah,
that has to be incorporated and again and again. And it's great to know and to have someone like and trust to work with you in this very important project. So thank you very much.
thanks for having me. This was a lot of fun.
For me too. So thanks to all of our listeners. Please like, share, follow all the things at Plus One Adoption. That's PLUSONE Adoption. And then our website is www.plus1adoption.org. If you're interested in helping Plus One with our mission, you can click in the link in our bio, and you'll see our websites there. You can make a donation, all sort of things. You can DM us on Instagram, on Facebook. even through our website. So please do. We are standing by to connect with you. Thank you. Thank you all for being part of the Plus One community. Take care, all. See you next time.